right, welcome back, everyone. The historic Belcourt Theatre is celebrating a century of performing arts, music, and movies.
Yes, here to share a glimpse at the past, present, and future of the Hillsborough Village landmark is Executive Director Stephanie Silverman. Welcome in.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here.
Well, you know, I love the Belcourt. It opened in 1925. We're talking about the history here. Yep. It was a silent movie house, and it was actually one of our city's biggest stages at the time.
It was. I mean, if you think of it, Hillsborough Village in that moment was actually a streetcar suburb of Nashville. So it was one of sort of an early neighborhood suburban theaters.
Wow. I mean, describe from hosting the Opry to the Children's Theater, what are some of those milestones over the last 100 years?
Yeah, you know, interestingly, really the last purpose-built theater standing in Nashville that's still serving Nashvillians today, which is a beautiful thing. So yes, we started with movies, which I think is appropriate for where we are today, but it's been so many things over the year. Really a home for many theater companies, including, really importantly, the Nashville Children's Theater, still operating beautifully in their own space now. Those critical first years of the Grand Ole Opry, when they moved from the radio station onto a stage. So we were the first stage that they were performing on. The model of show you see today, if you go to the big Opry, right, out at Opry Mills, is the same setup that was sort of initiated back in the early days of the Belcourt. So it has this beautiful legacy. And then again, for us to then circle back to film now in this generation of the theater is really meaningful, because I think it just sort of represents the long arc of communicating with, programming for, and just sharing stories with Nashville audiences for 100 years at this point.
It truly is a special place. I love how quaint and intimate it feels. It almost feels like it was built 100 years ago, although I know you've undergone a lot of beautiful renovations, so don't misinterpret that. But to you personally, what do you think it is that makes it so special there?
You know, I think it's so many things. It is absolutely our programming, the way we curate films for this community, but that would be nothing if we didn't have the audiences, if we didn't have our beautiful Nashville audiences, really audiences from the region coming in to have this wonderful shared experience of watching a movie together. We also run really wonderful education programs. We do deep dives into various disciplines around filmmaking. We have programs for youth around films. Frequently, we have guests in to talk about movie making, about the acting process, the writing process, the production process, the directing process. We just really like to think about movies in a real wraparound kind of way, so that you get an experience that is seeing the movie in the most beautiful way with the best sound, but also sort of dives a little deeper. And I think that's a thing that Nashvillians really love from us, that we're sort of in conversation with them about the movies.
Yes. You know, when you initially said, hey, it's where streetcars were rolling through, and I feel like I'm trying to flash back in my mind, if I could, you know, to envision it. But what sort of influence do you think Nashville itself has had on the film industry as a whole?
Oh, it absolutely has. I mean, there's really interesting intersections, right, for over that whole course of 100 years, really. So some of the actors who were on our stage during the Children's Theater years and the other theater company years went on to be actors in the major film industry, right? And then there's, you know, you also would see crossover from country music artists who then entered the film world. There's a kind of a funny section of filmmaking called Hicksploitation, which covers a whole lot of films. The Ormond family is a family here in Nashville that made a lot of movies, but that spans all the way to the Ernest movies, which a lot of us are going to remember from our youth. So there's a real tie between Hollywood storytelling and Nashville storytelling that I think puts us in a really special intersection between all of those things.
Well, before we let you go, we have to know how you all are celebrating, because you're celebrating all year.
We are. So you're going to catch us having a birthday party basically until May of next year. But we kicked it off June 1st with a screening, of course, of Robert Altman's film Nashville. The wonderful actor Keith Carradine was here. He celebrated with us, talked to audiences, and it was a beautiful way to sort of launch it. And now you'll find film seminars that continue to have that deep dive around the relationship between movies and Nashville. We will, of course, have film programming throughout the year. You can keep an eye out for some other special things, including, I'm going to tease tease a little bit, a walking tour of film sites in Nashville that you will get to participate in on your own as we go through the year, and many, many other special things that we'll just keep surprising audiences with, because we just want to have basically a year-long party.
Well,
As you should.
Yeah, you had us at walking tour. We were like, we're all in.
Yeah.
And
Thank
party.
you.
Yes,
Party.
thank you so much, Stephanie. Support the nonprofit. Check out all the special events happening for the Centennial Celebration. Visit belcourt.org.